So let's take a look at some examples. So if I want the maximum of the graph, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the maximum is 9. The minimum would be 0. The period is how long it takes to do one cycle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight one cycle, and I can highlight any cycle that I want. So I'm going to highlight that one. And I can see that if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, it takes 4 spaces to complete the cycle before it starts again. The amplitude is the maximum minus the minimum divided by 2, which says that the amplitude is 4.5. If I look at the next one, so the maximum, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The minimum, how many down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well. So the minimum is minus 6. I'm going to highlight one cycle of the graph. You can start anywhere and end anywhere as long as it's at the beginning to an end. So if I start here, I go up, down, up, and then I'm back at the beginning of a new cycle. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's how long it takes to do a cycle, and then I would start again. If I'm looking for the amplitude, I'm going to do the maximum minus the minimum and divide by 2, which means that the amplitude is 6. So 6 up from the midline and 6 down from the midline. If I look at this one, the maximum on this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the minimum, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're down 4. So if I start here, I'm going to go up, down, up, down, up. And then I get to the end. And then the new cycle will begin. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so a period of 6. The amplitude is the max minus the min divided by 2, which would be 5. So 5 up, 5 below from the midline. Last one on this page. If I look, the maximum, 1, 2, 3, 4. The minimum, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I look, I'm going to start here. Now let's start here. A little easier for me to see. And back down. Okay, and then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the period is 12. I calculate the amplitude, max minus min divided by 2, so the amplitude would be 4. Okay, this one wants me to draw 3 cycles of a periodic function. So I want 3 cycles of a periodic function with a period of 5 and an amplitude of 8. So first thing I want to do is I want to do a period of 5. So I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to make a darker line. That means my whole cycle has to finish in that amount of space. I need 3 of them, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gets me a period of 5 and a cycle of 3. So now I need an amplitude of 8. So in some fashion, I have to be 8 up and 8 below the midline. So I'm actually going to use this as my midline. It makes it a lot easier. You don't have to. There's a lot of varieties in this answer. So then what I want to do is I want to pick something where I go 8 up. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and maybe I'll draw a line to here. And then I'm just going to play around. Maybe I'll do this. I got to go down 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe I'll come in here like this and do something like that. Okay, so whatever I pick my design to be, I have an amplitude of 8 because I'm 8 up and 8 below my midline that I've chosen to be this. So that's covered. And now I'm just going to finish rolling out the cycle. So now I'm going to continue to draw the same pattern in this space and again in this space. So I'm going to go up to 8. And I need to repeat that pattern one more time. And there we go. Okay, so the following is a periodic function. So I want to highlight out what that period looks like. So if I look, we're going to start here. We go down, back up, and then we start again. So it means to get to here, I'm 6 spaces over. To get the next cycle, I would be 12, and so on and so forth. My maximum of my function is 9. My minimum is -5. So we want to know what the following values would be. So I want f at 0. So that means when x is 0, what would y be? So if I look, if x is 0, y would be 9. So I write 9. If x is 5, what would y be? 5 is here, so y would be -5. If I look for x is 8, so when the function is at 8, what would y be? So there's 6, 7, 8. We would be at -2. So f at 18. So that would mean that it would be at the end of the third cycle because we have 6, 12, 18. We'd be at the end of the third cycle. So it would be the same values at the end of the first cycle and the second cycle. So we would get 9. (21), well, a multiple of 3 is not of 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I have 21 divided by 3. So that gives me 3. Sorry, I want to do 21 divided by 6. Sorry, I want to do 21 divided by 6. Okay, so I'm going to divide by the period of the cycle. So that will give me 3. And then I have 3 more spaces after that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the end of a cycle. It took me 3 full cycles. And then 1, 2, 3 more spaces. So I'm going to be at 0. Now I want to do the next one. So I want to do 50 divided by 6. So I want to do 50 divided by 6, which means 8 full cycles. Plus 2 more spaces. Okay, so that's 8 full cycles and 2 more spaces. So I'm going to go back to the end of a cycle, add 2 more spaces, and I end up at -2. So if I look, last one here, I have 103 divided by 6. So I'm going to do 103 divided by 6, which means there are 17 full cycles plus 1 space more. So I go to the end of a cycle, I go 1 more space, and I look, and I'm at 3.5. Last one. So f of x is equal to -5. So that means y is equal to -5. So y is equal to -5. The first time that occurs is when x is equal to 5. To get the next one, well, I look over here. When does that occur again? It occurs when x is equal to 11. Well, how did I get this? This is 5 plus 6. That's where I started from, and the period is 6 spaces away. So to get the next one, I'm going to do 11 plus 6, which will give me 17. How do I get the next one? Well, I'm going to do 17 plus 6, which will be 23. 23 plus 6 will be 29. So there are 5 values when y is equal to -5.